So, about 4 months ago, we were approached by HUD to determine if we could deploy our impact outsourcing business model that leverages our ecosystem of training and talent partners to build a program that could invest in the Sacramento Promise Zone to create long-term career opportunities. So what we did is we reached out to our partner, Generation USA, a global workforce development organization, to discuss their willingness to invest resources in Sacramento to build out a training program. So they reached out and received approval from their major funding partner, Verizon, to redeploy an investment that they were going to make in the Bay Area in Sacramento. So over the last several months, we've been working with Generation to develop the training curriculum and with the Sacramento Promise Zone stakeholders to create a pilot that would train 100 individuals from the Promise Zone in cybersecurity analyst roles. Now, this pilot that's being rolled out in Sacramento is intended to be replicated in Promise Zones across the country. So Sacramento, you get the privilege of going first. So over the next 20 to 25 minutes, we're going to lay out the training program that Generation will deliver and how you can access that talent through outsourcing partnerships with ConSol. So let me share my screen quickly. And again, I should have closed the multitude of screens I've opened, but all right. Can everybody see my screen? Thumbs up? Perfect. So I'll just jump right in, and this isn't going to take long because I definitely want you guys to get a better sense of the training program and the resources that are going to be produced out of this cybersecurity training pilot. But just to give you a sense of the two organizations, let's start with ConSol USA. So we are a minority-led and controlled for-profit social enterprises that produces smart source technology and operational services to corporations by employing and reskilling overlooked talent, all while increasing operational efficiency, reducing risk, and closing critical skill gaps. So this is the piece on our side of the equation where we're actually employing folks from various communities that are underrepresented, and that's how we engage corporations, and we'll talk about that a little later in the presentation. Now, on the other side, Generation USA is our premier talent partner. So they're a workforce nonprofit organization with a twofold mission. First, they help those from those underrepresented communities find meaningful career options and sustained well-being by providing free online skills training with support and resources at scale. In addition, they do customized curricula to meet the specific needs of employers. So we employ them, Generation trains them. And so that's how the partnership works between our two organizations. So our value proposition is really simple. So we start with the customers and their needs, and we increase those needs and those outcomes by looking at the operational efficiencies that we can bring through the resources that ConSol employs. And those resources happen to be individuals from these underrepresented communities like the Sacramento Promise Zone. So this gives an opportunity for those companies that we work with to meet their operational goals and objectives, while also by building in a relationship with ConSol, hit some of their corporate and social responsibility goals and closing critical skill gaps that exist in the minority community in ways that only a firm that's focused on bringing job opportunities to those communities can provide. And that's really the value proposition that ConSol brings to these organizations. And then this is just really how it works. So we're an outsourced technology services company that starts by understanding the specific needs of our clients and then putting together contracts that specifically outline the requirements and the skills that individuals that come from these underrepresented communities need to have to meet the business goals and objectives for their organizations. And then we work directly back with our training and talent partners, in this case, Generation USA, to develop customized training that will specifically meet the goals and objectives of those organizations and investing those skills directly into these individuals from these underrepresented communities to meet the goals and business outcomes that these customers who partner with us are looking to achieve. And by doing that, again, there's a twofold result that they get. Number one, obviously, is operational efficiency and meeting the goals of the business. But then on the flip side, they also get to meet some of their diversity, equity, and inclusion goals, which is very important on the minds of a lot of corporations today, of how do you bring more people from these communities, underrepresented communities, into the IT ecosystem. By partnering with ConSol, they get a chance to do that. So it's one holistic approach that helps meet those business objectives. And so that's how we work. Now, let me turn it over to Sean Siegel, the CEO, to tell you a little bit about how Generation works and their background.
Thanks, Malcolm, and great to meet you all this afternoon. Thank you for taking the time. As Malcolm mentioned, I lead Generation US, which is part of a global organization of 14 countries founded under the Generation umbrella. We're a young nonprofit. We've only been around for about 6 years, but we actually were born out of research that McKinsey & Company did globally on transitions from education to employment and why so many people fell out of those transitions. And what they found was that there are a number of things that you could do in a scalable and cost-effective way to really change this for folks and to get folks into meaningful employment. And with that, we've become the fastest scaling, largest global employment program. We have served over 40,000 people globally. This year in the US alone, we'll serve over 5,000 people. And the folks that we serve, I'm proud to say, very well. Our 6-year track record, which you see on this slide, shows that 82% of our graduates have a job within 3 months of graduating our boot camp, that 80% of them stay in that job for at least 6 months. I will tell you that 76% of them stay in for a year, that they see a 3 to 5 times wage increase from what they were earning before enrolling in Generation. And that's actually a pre-pandemic stat. Now wages have been so slow that they're seeing exponentially higher wages because most of our graduates are unemployed before they start the program, and 81% of our graduates finish the program. So thinking of who we're serving and hearing what Malcolm was saying, the diversity piece is not a byproduct, it's actually our full focus. We target being 85% Black and Latinx. This year we're around 71%. We saw a lot more need for our programs post-pandemic, as you can imagine. One of the things we're most proud of is that while offering only programs focused on high tech jobs, we are 50% female, which is really, as you know, unheard of in the tech space. You can see that we serve anyone 18 plus, and there's a wide range of folks who are looking for new jobs post-pandemic, who might have been automated out of their jobs or just decided that going back to gig work or to part-time work in retail wasn't good enough for them. 71% of our earners are earning less than $500 a month before they come into our program. We're also taking folks who are really lacking opportunities in post-secondary education. So we're taking folks who don't have a lot of experience, that probably only have a high school diploma or GED. And despite that, we're still seeing that success that you saw on the previous slide, getting people into the jobs of the future and really making an impact in their lives. So for how we do that, I will turn to my colleague, Sienna.
Thank you, Sean. And also would like to say wonderful to be with all of you today. So based on the initial research that we've done, the 2 roles that we have identified in cybersecurity within the Sacramento area that will be a good fit are the junior analyst role and the senior analyst role. I won't read those for you. I think you guys can all read a little bit more about each of those yourselves, but what I will share is that the overall goals for the roles are to monitor a company's IT infrastructure, detect and or proactively identify threats, and enact security measures to secure the company's digital assets. So as Sean kind of alluded to, and Malcolm even mentioned a little bit, with Generation, a big piece of our success has been around our methodology. And a part of that is to design and develop curricula that drive business values for employers while rapidly building mastery in learners. We do this through a process that we call activity mapping. And what that looks like is we spend time observing folks in the specific jobs we are training for. We want to identify what we call breakdown moments. So we're looking for 5 to 10 breakdown moments. And those are the moments within a role that separate your high performers from your low performers. Once we have identified those, we build that into the actual curricula so that we are spending 80% of the time that we are training learners focused on those specific skills so that we know that they are actually really well prepared to succeed on day one in the roles once they have been placed in those jobs. We also integrate behavioral skills and mindsets that are needed for those specific jobs in with the technical skills. So as you can see, we have the behavioral skills and mindsets listed here that have been identified as the top skills needed within cybersecurity roles. And again, it's not taught separately. So we don't teach technical skills and then spend a few days on behavioral skills and mindsets. It's all integrated together so that our learners are learning all of it at once. All of the instruction, practice, and assessment sessions treat these skills together. And again, some of the examples specifically for cybersecurity are problem solving, time management, teamwork, persistence, and personal responsibility. Another piece of what we do as part of our methodology is making sure that we are providing social supports for our learners from day one all the way through, past a year out once they've been placed in a job. So we know that that's a big piece of the success of the work that we do. We have career coaches that work with them from day one. We have a very well-developed alumni team that works with learners once they have graduated from the boot camp and are in the process of being placed into a job. And then once they've been placed, we also still communicate with the learners as well as with the companies that they are working with. Based on our current activity mapping, we would anticipate the cybersecurity programs running somewhere between 12 and 16 weeks. These are full-time programs, so it's 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. They are fully online right now. And I think there is opportunity down the line for us to look at some in-person training as well, but for the time being, everything is online. Learners will gain the key technical skills that you can see that are identified on the slides. They will go through, we've broken it down into basically like 3 different sessions. So course 1, which is your basic fundamentals, course 2, which is more around operations, and then course 3, which really focuses on the specifics around cybersecurity. Once they've completed the program, they will finish with the Splunk certification. And then within the first 3 months of being with ConSol, placed with ConSol, they'll also earn their CompTIA Plus certification. I would encourage any of you that are interested to really start looking very closely at conversations with ConSol to get contracts in place. Things move quickly. It takes us a few months to get things off the ground. We would love to have you as part of the 2 pilot cohorts that we're looking to launch within a few months. And I will turn it back over to you, Malcolm.
And Malcolm, before you take over, I realized I forgot to mention something really important, which is this training is at no cost to all of you on the phone and at no cost to our students. And that's due to an amazing gift of $30 million from Verizon that they gave us last summer to really help people get into the jobs of the future. And it's part of an overall 10-year, $100 million commitment to Generation USA. So this is a really great opportunity, but also comes with pressure from Verizon to be launching quickly. And so we will be launching, and to be part of this, as Sienna said, we need to move fast. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. And then just moving on, and these are the last 2 slides, and we want to really kind of after we close this out, just open this up for questions. We want this to be a session that allows you to ask any of our executive team members or folks from the generation side of the equation any specifics on the course track, the training, or any of the support our associates receive once they graduate through the program. Speaking of that, just a little insight into how we onboard our candidates. And so as you can tell, this is truly a partnership between ConSol USA and Generation USA. And so we've been mapping together every step of the way, from the development of the curriculum to the timeframes to get individuals trained. We've been working to identify the specific skill sets that individuals will require. And as people are onboarded into the training sessions, our team members will be intimately involved with the cohorts as they go through their training processes. So after the 12 to 16 weeks of training that these individuals will go through, then that's time that they graduate and get handed off to us for full-time positions at ConSol USA. So we've got a very well built out methodology around how to onboard those individuals the right way. I would encourage you to go to our website, consol-usa.com, to kind of get some insight into our culture and the environments that we're setting up for individuals to be successful. We think that's one of the key differentiators in our business, is that we just simply set up environments where people that come from these communities of color and underrepresented communities, they're managed by people that look like them and have backgrounds that are similar to them. It's really one of the secret sauces that makes our business very successful. In addition to that, once they're onboarded, we're continuing to invest in these individuals in ways that make them more valuable to the companies that they work and support, and also more valuable to their career pathing. So one of the things that we're committed to doing to these people, or to these individuals that graduate from the training program with Generation, is a commitment to get them additional certifications, specifically around CompTIA Security Plus certification training when they're onboarded an associate of ConSol USA. And so we're always personally committed to making sure that when anyone comes and works for our organization, that we invest in them in ways that make them better, more marketable, and more valuable before and after they leave their time with ConSol USA. And then one important thing to note that I think is, we've heard this time and time again from companies who work with us, is the fact that by leveraging the assets and the resources that Generation has at their disposal to invest in the training, in addition to working through outsourced contracts with ConSol USA, we actually de-risk an ability to bring in diversity talent into your organization that doesn't put your hiring practices at risk, because these individuals work for us and we're responsible to make sure that they've got the right skills and the training to meet your organization's operational objectives. So that's on ConSol USA, and we're committed to meeting our customers' needs. And so here's the last slide, and I'll go through this really quickly, and then we'll turn it over to the question and answer session. But what's the next step if you're interested in hearing more about ways to engage ConSol USA as an outsourced partner, specifically for this pilot of cybersecurity analysts that are going to be graduating sometime in late 21 or early 22? Well, the first thing that we're encouraging you to do is schedule some time for us to make sure that what we're building in terms of these cyber resources will specifically meet your needs in your security operations centers. We understand that there's different tool sets you'll use, there's different cultural and value sets that you have in your organizations. We really want to spend time to understand your specific environment, your specific needs, so that when we deliver resources that come out of this pilot, that they're meeting your operational requirements in your business. So the first thing you should do is schedule a call with us. The second thing is that we've got great folks on our organization, like Rochelle Fosu, who's been a 25-year technology leader in business and has worked at many organizations like the New York Stock Exchange and other highly technical organizations. We're going to do a discovery just to make sure that we understand your needs and define those in a way that translate to skill sets that then can be taught by our partner Generation USA. And so that's really the part of the discovery process, but we want to have a really good opportunity to map and define all of your needs as a corporation. And then finally, we've got to figure out a way to transact business. And so there's figuring out or determining what contract vehicles exist so that we can simply become a supplier for your organization. So whether it's leveraging a newly created MSA between our two organizations or some other federal contract buying vehicle, we want to have an opportunity to define what those contractual relationships will look like. And then last but not least, we just want to define launch program timing and when resources can be brought on, whether those resources are going to be on site at your location or remote. A lot of organizations are running hybrid programs right now, so we just have to figure out the logistics behind that. So just determining the ideal timing to launch with you. I only caveat that to say that, again, back to Sean's comments, we're pressing very hard right now for defining contracts in corporate customers who want the resources that are going to be produced out of these first 2 cohorts that we're targeting tentatively to launch around October 4th. And so if you want to be first in line to get access to cyber resources in the analyst space, the time to schedule calls with our team is now. So with that, I will say thank you for listening to the presentation, and I'll close it and open it up for questions.
All right, before we dive into questions, I'm recognizing that we have a few different types of personnel on the line. So we have folks who I know who are probably more interested in learning a little bit about the training side. And we have folks who hopefully are here to learn about potentially being a client and developing contracts to take advantage of the outsourced talent. And so first, I just want to start with, so the way that the pilot is going to work, right, is first generation, train the target audience that was mentioned. And then technically, those individuals will be technically hired by ConSol USA. And the opportunity that we are focused on today is engaging with nonprofit, public, and private entities who would be interested in becoming clients with ConSol USA to take advantage of the outsourced talent. And so if we could try to focus our initial conversation and our initial questions on the questions from potential clients, that would probably serve us best. And the reason why I say that is because for us to have a higher opportunity for individuals to be trained and then have the opportunity to have a career or job present here in Sacramento and in the Promise Zone, having these conversations and developing those contracts and having those clients engage with ConSol is an important piece. There will definitely be a great opportunity for us to discuss the training aspect and et cetera. But please, those of you who are here to learn about potentially taking advantage of the outsourced talent once they are trained, I'd like to ask those folks to please pose their questions first. Is that fair?
Yep. One thing I'll caveat, because I think you bring up a really interesting point, Julius, is that just overall in our country, there's currently a deficit of around 1.5 million individuals that have cybersecurity training to fill the roles that exist now in public, private, and in corporate customers. And so this is really, and I think this is why we honed in on cybersecurity specifically for the Promise Zone, is because it creates such a unique opportunity to fill the void in human capital that exists around our country, and specifically, resources that have the right training to really protect the country's infrastructure. And so with that, it created just a huge opportunity for Sacramento to lead the way, and California, in our opinion, should somewhat lead the way. And so I thought I'd throw that out there just as a caveat that, there's many, many companies out there that have a deficit in finding the right talent. Well, we're going to build to spec for you, if that makes sense.
All right. With that being said, now it's you all's turn to talk. I know our folks here in the Sacramento Promise Zone are not shy. So please feel free to unmute yourself and jump in and ask a question. If you would like, you can use the raise your hand feature or any of the other reactions so that we can identify you if need be. If you want to use your actual real hand to throw it up, any way you feel fit, feel free to just jump in. This must mean that Malcolm, Sean, and Sienna had such an amazing presentation. There are absolutely no questions.
They left them speechless, Julius.
All right. Well, I know Mr. Edward Lewis had a question. Edward, if you want to go ahead and pose your question or questions, and I know that it's kind of more focused on training, but I was, hoping that we'd hear some question in regards to becoming clients. So go ahead, Mr. Lewis.
Well, maybe if I ask about trainings, that'll spark something with other folks. So, my question was, listen to Ms. Daniel, thank you. I want to know if you can expand a little bit more on the supportive services side, because when we're talking about our constituents within the promise zone, there tend to be a little bit more hand-holding in regards to barrier removals, with our two greatest barriers being transportation and childcare, and then other levels of case management services that you will provide for this that first 90-day window slide that was presented.
Yeah, I can jump in, and then Sienna, please feel free. So supportive services are something we take really seriously, and one of the things we pride ourselves on is we're serving an extremely hard to serve population. And just to kind of frame that for you, we actually have a 94% acceptance rate for those who apply to our program. So we're trying to have a very low barrier for entry for people who haven't had success in traditional post-secondary. To do that successfully, what we do is during the application process, all of our participants participate in a risk assessment where we look at factors that could cause them to struggle with our program. And that ranges from transportation and childcare to mental health issues, previous work experiences, whether they're single parents. Like we get into their business a little so that we can assign them a risk level. And then based on that risk level, there's a mandatory level of career coaching, life coaching, and other supports that they get. So if you're one of our highest risk learners, you're meeting with a career coach and a life coach weekly from your very first day in the program. If you're more of a low risk learner who's just trying to reskill because you've been automated out of your job, you might only touch base with a career coach once or twice during the program. And really the supports will start into the placement phase, which is that 90 days post-graduation. We have everything from transportation stipends available to contacts with local social support orgs for childcare. No, technology is never a barrier. Any student who applies that doesn't have a laptop, we buy one for them. We even have Wi-Fi spots so that if Wi-Fi is an issue, we can send those. That's through our partnership with Verizon. So we really have tried to be holistic and making sure that anyone can do this program. The one caveat is it is a large commitment. Like we're asking for 9 to 5, Monday through Friday for 12 to 16 weeks, and we know that's a lot. So the main thing that that we do screen for is people who have other commitments that aren't going to allow them to be successful, and then we point them to some of our partners that have more flexible options.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sean. All right. Any other questions? Terry?
Yeah, having a challenge unmuting. As far as the employer side of things, if we had employers that we could refer, we work with employers. SETA has a full employer services. So should we connect directly with ConSol to make some referrals of employers that might be a good fit?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that I'll do, Terry, by the way, thanks for your question. It's nice to meet you. One of the things that I hope Julius will do is send out the deck that we shared today, and it's got my contact information. Feel free to share that with any corporate contacts you think would be good fits for us to have a conversation with.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Terry.
Yeah, and one other comment that I thought I'd make specifically, Edward, and I know we've talked about this in previous conversations as well. One of our high value target populations that we're actually looking to recruit candidates for the training program is actually from some of the military bases that exist in Sacramento. Some of these folks, as many of you are aware, have security clearances, have baseline core training that they may have gotten through their service in the military. they're very high value targets for us to bring into the cybersecurity program and do some upskilling and training with them. So I wanted to make that really clear, because I think there's a way for us to, serve our service members that are looking for, long-term career opportunities. And Sacramento seems to be one of the perfect opportunities to do that. So.
All right, thank you so much. So Terry, I just want to thank you for that question, because that is certainly an ideal outcome of this information session. We know that there are some folks who are here who representing their organizations, and they're looking to, develop the opportunity to contract with ConSol themselves, but then we also have folks who are on the line like Terry, who are from organizations that have great relationships and great networks in regards to potential clients. SETA is who Terry worked for, the Sacramento Employment Training Agency. So they have huge engagement in networks in regards to employers. I get about 30 emails a day from employers from SETA. All right, any other questions?
I have another one. How would we work with, we have a couple programs that focus on serving veterans as well. And I noticed that was one of your priority populations. So when the deck comes out, do we do the same procedure? If we have some veterans that are interested in the training program, we send them your way from, is that the same procedure?
Well, I would say
to Sean, actually. Do the referrals go to Sean? Or
yeah, they can come through
participants?
Federation. We'll have a website up for the Sacramento program pretty shortly. And so we'll be able to follow up with that link for you all. And also we have a national partnership with the USO, so can follow up with you directly.
all right, great.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
I just want to say that I'm very impressed with the program, and I think it's awesome. And I'm glad that Sacramento has a chance to show what we can do here. And I'm so glad that the Promise Zone has brought this information to us. I think it's great.
Wonderful.
Julius, it's Robert here. Really not a question, but Malcolm, I was just wondering if you could share a bit about the ongoing support that's given to associates once they're with ConSol.
Yeah. So, much like Generation, we understand that, this is a population that needs additional investment in mentoring and support around upskilling. And so we actually look at it in terms of an investment thesis in individuals to understand their individual requirements and skill-based. And then we invest in them in career pathing that will help them be successful. And so we've got several team members on here from our talent management side of the equation, whether it's Keith Rismarnen, who's actually looking at strategies to actually via an AI platform understand the core baseline skills of an individual when they come and start their career with ConSol USA, and then figure out the right investment strategies to give them additional upskilling, opportunities for certification, opportunities for additional skills around speaking, those kind of skills as well. And really, we wrap a bunch of services around them just to make them a better associate overall. And what we really think the outcome will be from the partnership that we have with Generation is they'll hand them off to us pretty raw, and then we'll start chipping away at the edges and make them an even more valuable associate and more valuable to their our corporate partners, that an organization may find some diamonds in the rough from networks that create some diverse pathways for our associates that they wouldn't normally have seen. So what we really look at it as just an opportunity to invest in these individuals in ways that closes the opportunity divide in a very meaningful way.
All right. Any other questions?
Julius, I have a question. To really launch this program in a way that we really think it will be beneficial not only for employers, but for those participants in the program, we're going to really have to maybe sit down on one-on-one with some of our larger employers here in the city to really present the opportunity. I don't know that there's been anything like this effort. And so I really am excited about working with the whole team in really sharing the good news about the opportunity and to really be able to show value. I think most employers are just interviewing people who already have those skills. But when you have the opportunity to craft a program that's specific to your particular needs, that's a whole new approach in many instances to workforce development. And we're going to need to kind of help people understand the value of having people trained based on their needs to be able to do well in their environment, and the support systems. Most employers who are employing people, particularly at the entry stage, don't have levels of support to help them succeed. And so this not only provides an opportunity for specific workforce development training, but also a higher and more fine-tuned level of support. So this is a great opportunity for our city on numerous levels, and we're just excited to do whatever we need to do. I'm glad to hear that Verizon is really excited about moving quickly. On one end, that shows that they are really committed to having people trained and placed. On another side, that adds a little bit more pressure because time is of the essence, and we've got to get some employers lined up. But we're going to do what we can do to do some specific additional targeting. I think this is a first of many, many, many steps that are going to lead to success for those who are trained and those employers who have signed on for the partnership.
Thanks for that.
All right. Any other thoughts, questions?
So hi everyone, my name is Erin. I work for Mutual Housing California, an affordable housing developer and provider here. I think we have probably 6 complexes in the Promise Zone. So definitely going to put the word out for this program once that flyer comes out. So I'm wondering, I think in terms of like incentivizing in entry into the program, I'm wondering what's the starting salary of a junior analyst or a senior analyst?
Yeah, it's going to be commensurate with the marketplace. But typically, I mean, I think you saw a slide that typically the individuals that we're talking about, there at least is a 4X or 5X over what they're currently making. One of the things that's important for ConSol is that we find ways to incentivize them to continue to upskill. So we put things out there like certification bonuses. So once they get their comp TIA certification, there's a bonus structure in that. Each individual employer is going to define the contractual outsourcing relationship with us, but I can tell you that the salaries are definitely going to be commensurate with where they live, which is in California and in Sacramento, and for the skills that they'll have on the job.
Great question, Aaron. All right, any other questions? All right, hearing none. Just want folks to know that we are really grateful for you taking the time to be here. I really want to thank our awesome presenters for such a great presentation, and even beyond the presentation for bringing this opportunity to the Sacramento area, specifically in the Sacramento Promise Zone. What will take place next is you all heard the wonderful animated or automated voice that let you know that this presentation was being recorded. We will send out the recording to those folks who are present, and also other potential clients in Sacramento Promise Zone partner list. And then we also will share the slide deck that was presented today so that you have the information for, that took place today, and also have the contact information for Malcolm. But as always, you can always contact me to get any information that you need or connect to any partner that you may need. So be on the lookout for that. And then our team will continue to be doing outreach for potential clients. And then as soon as we are ready for the program to launch, we'll be sharing the information so that you can help connect those people who want to be trained and help with that outreach. So we appreciate you all being here. We hope that there's some conversations that take place with ConSol USA for folks who want to develop contracts, or at least explore more about developing contracts. And then we ask you all to be great Sacramento Promise Zone partners, and please help spread the word about the opportunity to any nonprofit, any public or private entity who has cybersecurity needs for their organization, so that they can be aware of the opportunity.